Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. People, let me tell you, you have Spence and Crawford coming up. Golovkin and Triple G. Golovkin and Canelo. AJ and Usyk, the rematch. And I did a video about which one of those fights is the biggest fight this year. Let me tell you, I missed one. And I've covered this fight a lot in the last couple months, but I forgot to add these names on that video. And I want to just go ahead and clean up my oversight. And let's talk about it right now. This right here, to be honest with you, may be the most anticipated fight of 2022. And I'm not just saying this because these are women. I'm just being honest with you. This really, I think, is the biggest fight of 2022. It's unfortunate because the women in boxing, they just don't have the platform as the men. But these two women, they aren't far behind. And you can thank them for what they've managed to accomplish in boxing and by putting themselves to the forefront and having their names up in the headlines, okay? So they put the work in, and now they're reaping those rewards. But also, it doesn't hurt that Serrano just fought Taylor and DAZN just went and became undisputed in her division as well. But let me tell you, 2022, like I said, has already proven to be a big year for women's boxing. And towards the end of the summer, it's going to be a lot going on, right? It's going to be a captivating championship doubleheader. And that's Claressa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. They're going to be fighting at the London O2 Arena in England. And I am excited about it. Now, a lot of people are saying, and Savannah Marshall has been vocal about this, saying that the only reason the fight's happening in England is because she feels Clarissa Shields can't sell tickets in America. So you have to come to England because the money's there. And she says she respects Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields has done a lot as an amateur, as an Olympian, as a professional. But the fact remains, Clarissa Shields is not the cash cow. She brings no money to the table. Now, the thing about Savannah Marshall is when she does talk, she doesn't raise her voice, man. She'll say what she has to say and she's done. She's really like that silent killer, that silent assassin. She's sitting there looking at you, she's talking, she's pretty much expressionless, and she's just talking in a steady tone, but she's piercing through your soul when she's watching you. She's not intimidated by Shields. Shields isn't intimidated by her. But it's nice to see Savannah Marshall talking and kind of going back and forth with Claressa Shields. Okay, it's nice to see that she's being more vocal and standing up for herself. And it's not that she was ever intimidated. I think she's more like, we'll settle it in the ring, but you can see that obviously she's human and some things are bothering her. Now, Clarissa Shields, we all know, she has no problem speaking her mind. They actually sat down for a press conference, and Clarissa Shields came prepared. She was, going at Savannah Marshall about how no one knows her. It's just because of her. She beat Clarissa Shields in the amateur, that she's somebody now. Talking about her record as an amateur, Clarissa Shields only had the one loss, which was loss to Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall had several losses on her record. So Clarissa Shields was hitting her with, she just came prepared. I'll put it to you like that. And I was very surprised at some of the things Clarissa Shields was saying. It wasn't being disrespectful, but she was just speaking facts. And Savannah Marshall, she had her one-liner comebacks, which was good to see. But I'm telling you, if for some reason you've been sleeping underneath a rock and you don't know who Clarissa Shields is, you don't know who Savannah Marshall is, come from underneath that rock right now. Go get spun up on these two. Do your due diligence to understand what you're going to be seeing when these two step in the ring later this year. I'm telling you, this is going to be fireworks. The storyline, everything is magnificent. Magnificent. contrasting personalities, contrasting styles in the boxing ring. You got the slick boxer, a lot of speed. Speed is power. Speed kills, but not the kind of power in that fighter. Talking about Shields. And Savannah Marshall, a little bit slower. She's not slow at all, but she's slower than Shields. Kind of just plods forward. She reminds me like Tyson Fury, man. That same damn style. You know, just kind of plod forward, slow jogging forward, looking herky-jerky. But she's got power. So it is going to be a really, really good fight. So you got the two-time Olympic gold medalist and WBC, IBF, WBA middleweight champion Clarissa Shields. Talk about her having speed. Not sure about the power. 12 wins, 0 losses, 2 KOs. Okay? Pretty good record. She's accomplished a lot, right? So Shields is looking to unify her belts with the WBO champion Savannah Marshall. And it's going to be an undisputed championship main event. The backstory between these, now Savannah Marshall's 12 wins, 0 losses, 10 KOs. So big difference in power, okay? Yeah, the opponents have a lot to do with it, but at the end of the day, they fought a lot of the same people, and some of the people that they both fought went the distance with Shields, didn't go the distance with Marshall. So obviously there's something special about Marshall's hands when it comes to power, something special about Shields' hands when it comes to speed. The backstory between these two is that Marshall defeated Shields in the amateurs back in the 2012 AIBA Women's World Boxing Championships. And to date, that remains Shields' only defeat as an amateur and a pro. So Shields can say that Marshall is kind of riding on that win and her whole professional career has been built around that win. Well, I think when it comes to Shields, I think that loss has been a benefit to Marshall, but a thorn in the side for Shields, okay? Because she doesn't like it. But she gets an opportunity to kind of correct that when the two get in there and fight. But it's gonna be very interesting because being angry going into a fight is only gonna get you so far, okay? It's good to be passionate, but you still have to remain disciplined. Shields is the consummate professional. Marshall is the consummate professional. But what's going to happen here in this fight, in my opinion, is I think this is really going to boil down to who can remain disciplined, who won't become greedy. You see, you go to a buffet, right? Everything looking good, everything tasting good. And it gets to a point to where it's like, all right, you know that you probably should stop. It's getting too good in here. And then you force yourself to go out there and keep eating and eating, and then you can't move. You can't function. You're uncomfortable. You can't sleep. It's horrible. Fall asleep. All kind of stuff going on, right? That's the same thing as in boxing. When things are going too good, it's tasting too good, it's coming too easy, getting your shot, getting your work off. Then you get greedy, you lose your discipline when you know you should stop, kind of stay in that zone. But no, you get greedy and you start going for more, then you get caught. And I think that is kind of what's going to happen here at some point in the fight. Shields is going to be outboxing her, using her speed, using her lateral movement, and just being the faster, having the faster hands and extremely high boxing IQ. I think it's going to be, Shields is going to have the upper hand. I really do. But I think at some point, and I said this in other videos, she's going to get greedy if she doesn't remain disciplined. And this is where Marshall, that kind of herky-jerky, plodding along style, if she's a good counterpuncher and she lets her hands go, she'll punch in the exchanges. She's very slick. She looks simple. She's not simple. But I think that's where Shields is going to have a problem because Marshall isn't going anywhere. But it's going to be very, very, very interesting. Now, Shields, of course, is the self-described greatest woman boxing of all time. Most recently defended her titles against Emma Kozin in February. Not many people were too enthused about that fight, but the fact is she got in there, she got a win. She had previously fought twice on the PFL banner, going 1-1 in her foray in the MMA. Now, we can say what we want about any boxer, male or female. I think James Toney went over, fought in MMA. But talking about in their prime, Clarissa Shields went over to the MMA world and actually tried it, and she did okay in both fights. And for that, we need to give her a lot of respect. Doesn't mean she's going to beat Marshall, but I'm just saying Shields is definitely a true combatant. She's all about fighting. She's not afraid. And by her going to MMA, that just shows you she's not worried about anything. In boxing, you get punched in the face with gloves. In MMA, you know, someone kneeing you, stomping you, kicking you in the knee, all kind of crazy stuff, man. And she went over there and had no problem. So when it comes to these two, although Savannah Marshall has, 10 knockouts in 12 fights, none of that is going to intimidate Clarissa Shields. It really isn't, man. But I think this fight by far between Shields and Marshall is going to be the biggest fight possible for the two of them and the biggest fight of both of their careers. Now, especially when you look at Marshall, who's coming off a spectacular KO of Femke Hermans, once again showcasing her vaunted power. Okay? I don't know if you guys saw that fight. Things were going, kind of back and forth somewhat, and then just the big hook, the big left hook. And then Femke Hermans was out cold. I mean, the shot she hit her with, man, it's just, it almost looked like she threw it. She knew what she was doing. She set Femke Hermans up, and she just let that hook go where Hermans wasn't expecting it. And that's the thing, man. That shows IQ for her to let shots go that the opponent doesn't see and don't expect. And she was able to catch her with and get her out of there. And that's what Clarissa Shields has to be concerned about and be aware of. Is Savannah Marshall, simple-looking style, coming forward and just plodding along, herky-jerky, but then she's letting shots go when you don't expect them, and they're coming from different angles. And she's not just throwing the simple 1-2, the simple jab. She'll throw a lead hook, a lead uppercut. She will slip and counter. She will let you get some shots off, cover up, but then she's coming right back at you. So she has a style that's, to me, in a sense, a bit unpredictable. But Shields is a high-volume puncher. She works every second of those 2 rounds. So that's what's going to make it interesting. That's what's going to make it interesting. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of people here in the States aren't giving Savannah Marshall a chance in hell. And I think that's because over here in the States, a lot of people don't know about her. Now, I did several videos. I'm not going to get into all the stuff I did. I've done like 6 videos on both of them. But I'm going to point this out for more of the American audience, and even for anyone else, especially in the UK, who happens to be watching this video. What some people don't realize, right? The reason why, now I like Shields. I like Marshall. I'm not biased, right? I'm just putting some facts out here. Clarissa Shields is from Michigan. She does know Floyd. She has worked with Floyd a little bit. She has received guidance and from a lot of professional boxers here stateside. So you can say she's kind of learned a little bit from a lot of different professional boxers. In addition to what she's been doing with her own team, right? Savannah Marshall, this is something I didn't know, 6 months ago. That's why I did the video of it. If you guys didn't know, when Savannah Marshall first turned pro, she signed to Mayweather Promotions. She came over to the States, was up there living in Vegas, training the Mayweather gym. See, a lot of you didn't know that. She was up there for quite some time, but they just couldn't get her to fights. So she got all of that experience, all of that knowledge from being in that Mayweather gym. Floyd Mayweather Sr., Roger Mayweather, and whoever else happened to put hands on her, right? She took that, went back to England, hooked up with Peter Fury, in the Fury camp, Tyson Fury, all of the people who were involved in making him into what he is, she got herself immersed into that as well. So you take all the great training, all the great knowledge, all the great insight that she got while she was on that Mayweather Promotions banner. And she came back to the UK and got all that great training, insight, and knowledge from that Fury camp, Fury team. And she's being trained by Tyson Fury's uncle, Peter Fury. And you put all that together and you have a problem. Okay? Now, that's why I'm saying when it comes to Savannah Marshall, for those people in the States who don't know her, now you have a better understanding of why I'm saying you got to give her a real chance to come in here and upset and pull off the upset. And I think it's a 50-50 fight. But I just think for some reason Savannah Marshall isn't getting the credit she deserves. She's just not getting the credit she deserves. Now, don't get me wrong. Shields deserves everything she's getting. To me, she should get more, in my opinion. What she's done in women's boxing is absolutely amazing. They're just not giving. Whatever. I'm not gonna get into that. But she deserves more than she deserves 20-fold from what she's received already. She's a superstar, but for some reason, she's not getting to me what she deserves, what she's earned. Savannah Marshall and Claressa Shields, I think with this fight is going to elevate them both, and whoever wins is finally, in my opinion, going to get what they deserve. Okay? For Savannah Marshall, it's respect, and also these aren't the things that I think she feels she's being deprived of, but the one thing for her that I think she's going to get that maybe she feels like she's not getting right now is the respect as the best women fighter or a great fighter. For Clarissa Shields, it's multiple things, but I'm going to say the one thing that she's going to get if she wins this fight is just being springboarded to superstardom. She should have been there already. She should be on cereal boxes. She should be doing commercials. She should be the face of YMCAs and stuff around the world, around the United States. She should be that person. She's not, right? And I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, other undercard fights will be announced at a later date. But the main story here is the presence of those two very compelling championship fights. By the end of September 10th, we should have an undisputed middleweight champion and a 3-belt super featherweight champion. All of this just months removed from Katie Taylor's Classic versus Amanda Serrano, which itself featured Franchon Cruz de Zern's undisputed super middleweight title win over Ellen Cederos. So ESPN Plus is going to be covering this fight, and I am looking forward to it. To me, I'm trying not to go into those videos I've already done, but Marshall just has to keep coming forward, chopping you down. And I'm trying to think, man, who was that fighter that just kept coming? Oh, I remember I was watching him a few weeks ago, and I was like, man, he just keeps coming and chopping you down. It's Chocolito, man. He just keeps coming and just chopping you down. Julio Cesar Chavez, coming forward, just chopping you down, throwing punches, chopping you down. And that's kind of how I would describe Savannah Marshall. Coming forward, good stamina, chopping you down. And she just eventually catches up to you and just starts to let shots go. There's someone else too, man, who fights like that right now. They just come forward and just letting their hands go. And they just throw a lot of punches until they overwhelm you. Man, who is that, man? I'm seeing the person in my head. They just come forward and they just chop you down until you can't, you eventually quit. Man, I can't call the name off the top of my head, but you know who else was like that, who threw a lot of punches and just chopped you down? Was the baby bull Juan Diaz. I don't know if you guys remember him. He was, fast hands and threw a lot of shots, but Savannah Marshall isn't fast like that, but she has that style of just chopping you down and eventually making you quit. Miguel Cotto was another one who would just come forward and just chop you down. And I am looking forward to this fight. So, hey man, you guys just tune in. And let me know who you think is going to win. But I think it's really important to really acknowledge Savannah Marshall's 12 wins, 10 KOs, Clarissa Shields 12 wins and 2 KOs. You got to pay attention to that and recognize those 10 KOs, man. You have to. And if you don't want to do that, then you're not being fair to Savannah Marshall. At the same time, if you think Savannah Marshall is going to come in there and clip Clarissa Shields within 1 or 2 rounds, then you're being biased and unfair, and you're not giving credit to Clarissa Shields being a 2-time gold medalist, undefeated fighter, undisputed distinction in 2 different weight classes, I believe, since she's been boxing. You have to be fair to both of these women, okay? And I just think this is one of those fights where it's a pick'em fight. But I'm gonna say the fight is there for Clarissa Shields to win. I just don't think Savannah Marshall is going to allow her to go, what are they doing, 10 rounds? To go to 10 rounds without getting to her at some point and making the fight very interesting. I just don't think that's going to happen. But we'll see. That being said, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Shout out to all the veterans. Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields. This, I have a feeling, will be fight of the year, especially because it's only 2-minute rounds, man. Someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to get buzzed in this fight. Now, I don't know who it's going to be, but I know it's not going to be me. You guys take care, and I'm in the breeze.